What's up, everybody? In this video, I want to give you an update on how Skillshare has been going, because now I've been on it for more than 90 days, and I feel like I've learned a lot, and I've had multiple events happen where I had to do something, and there was an obstacle, and we gotta work around these things, and in this video, I shall share all of this with you guys. So, in case you haven't heard about Skillshare, or you're not entirely clear what Skillshare is a marketplace where you can buy courses. Except instead of purchasing each course individually, you pay one monthly fee in order to get all of the courses. It's basically Netflix or Hulu, except instead of TV shows, you get courses. That's the easiest way to think about it, all right? And there's ways to get it for free, but if you're not getting it for free, say you're paying full price, it's $15 a month at the moment, right? I'm sure with time that may change, who knows? But what's so fascinating about Skillshare is that from a student's perspective, it allows you to really learn a lot more than you would typically be able to once you start putting money into trying to learn something online, right? Because in most cases, if you are seriously thinking about spending money to try and acquire knowledge using the internet, you're going to buy one course, spend like $100 on something, or maybe $1,000 or more, and that's completely unnecessary, right? Unless you are completely positive that that course is the course you need. But how can one course be better than over 20,000 courses? You know, it's pretty worth it. So now that you understand what Skillshare is, it's a marketplace where you can purchase courses, except, okay, you don't actually purchase them, you just search for them, right? They have courses about cooking, about art, tons of different things. Now we can get into what I'm trying to do with it and why I am a Skillshare teacher, because I want to cover everything in this video. Everything that I know about Skillshare, I'm going to share with you right now, okay? So I want to be able to learn things online, to research things that I am interested in, because I have a lot of free time. So, how can I monetize pursuing the things that I'm interested in, right? Like all the little random projects I want to do and work on, how can I earn money from these things? Well, one of the most flexible ways to accomplish this is to create some kind of digital product or an IP product. A course is an example of this, right? So the general idea here for me as an individual and why I like Skillshare is that it allows me to make courses about things that I'm learning about and that I'm interested in a way that feels a lot more fluid than with other marketplaces. Now, I will say that I didn't start off teaching on Skillshare and focusing on Skillshare exclusively. I started off as a Udemy teacher, and that is how I was able to get a course that actually earned some money that has since depreciated, but it showed me, okay, this is real. I can just make courses and something will work. I'll be able to do it. That was what really inspired me, the experience I had on Udemy. But I have since not focused on Udemy for various reasons. Essentially, I believe now that on Udemy, you really have to do a lot more marketing than you do on Skillshare. On Skillshare, you can do the marketing on the Skillshare website itself and by talking to people, and there's ways to connect and that kind of thing. Whereas on Udemy, you're not connected with all the other people who are using the platform. You're connected directly with people who are using each course. And so in some ways this creates separations, and the community isn't as interactive, for example, as the community on Skillshare. And that being said, let's get to the statistics. I know people like numbers and that kind of thing. First, actually, let's look at the courses that I have. I have 5 published courses. There's one about video editing, has 4 students. One about recording and streaming, just like the video I'm making right now, 63 students. One about getting started on Skillshare, 5 students. This is a band course. I'll get into that later, so it doesn't exist actually. I can just see it, but it can't be enrolled in. Then we have this, which is keyword research for YouTube. That has 13 students. And then my first course, which was about running a YouTube channel. And that one has 12 students. Okay? So each one of these courses was published roughly a week apart. I did 30 days where I did a course every day. I created one course every 7 days. And I was consuming other people's courses at a rate of one course per day. So I was exposing myself to courses and then also making my own courses at the same time for 30 days. I made this spreadsheet here when I started on Skillshare, and I have a team of virtual assistants, so one of them helped me create these documents. And basically the way this worked was we had 30 Skillshare courses and 30 YouTube videos that we picked ahead of time, and I watched the Skillshare course in its entirety and the YouTube video in its entirety each day for 30 days. That put me in a position where I was really getting exposed to the different strategies that people use to express information, and I could pay attention to how I was learning and how engaged I felt. And whenever I had a moment where I really felt in, I could pause the video and take a quick look at it and really think, why did I feel that way? Why was I, as the student, so engrossed in what the instructor was telling me in that specific moment? And by exposing yourself to content with these kind of thoughts in mind, you're going to find that you are able to produce more effective content. It's not going to immediately make you make great content, but it is going to mean that as you produce more courses, it will be very clear to you what you should do to improve. Okay? The more courses you consume, the better your concept of what a really good course is and what that actually means to you based on the experiences you've had with really good courses. Okay? If you really have that concept solid of what you feel makes like a good course, then it becomes much easier to create the course yourself, because you know exactly what you like and what you want, what you're trying to teach, right? And then it kind of becomes about, all right, you've created the course, now really all that matters is revising the introduction video until it is like really effective. Because it is one of those situations where you can make an amazing course, but if the introduction video is boring, then it just doesn't catch on as quick. It doesn't grow as fast. And it's worth your time expecting to reproduce introduction videos multiple times for your individual courses. And I'll talk more about that later in the video, okay? Right now, I'm just trying to make sure that you understand that when I started Skillshare, this is what I did for 30 days. And I have not done that since then. Like I said, it's been 3 months, and this was just the first month. I was not that diligent for the second or third month. I just knew that this was something important to me, and I wanted to make sure that at least for 30 days, I did it as effectively as I felt like was possible. And for me, the main obstacle to cover was, how do I make sure that this is habit? How do I make sure that I'm used to this, or at least I remember what this momentum was like, so it's easier to tap into? And I thought that the best way to accomplish that, to cover that, is to just do it every day and learn and take as many courses as possible and produce as many as I could in that month, right? And that's not an approach that I would recommend for most people. I would recommend that you take one Skillshare course every day. That, I think, is very effective. But most of the time, it is beneficial to take longer and put more effort and time and attention into your courses. Me as an individual, I can create a lot of content, but it goes all over the place. And I want you to understand that that is a weakness that I have. It is something that I'm trying to work on, is coming from the other end of taking more time on individual products. I don't want anybody to think that the best thing to do is to just make a bunch of stuff. Quantity is not over quality. Although there are times for learning that quantity can be incredibly useful. So now you understand that. You understand how I started. You understand the first 30 days on Skillshare. Remembering it's been about 3 months, right? And there's a lot that happened and a lot that I've learned from. So let's get to the stats again so you can see, because now you kind of understand what I was doing in the first 30 days. But there's something else here. I'm not just a Skillshare teacher, as you can tell. I'm also making YouTube videos about everything. And that's quite important here, because you're going to see later that the YouTube content monetizes more effectively than the Skillshare content. But the combination of YouTube and Skillshare allows you to create your own traffic and to monetize that traffic with a product that can provide useful information to anybody in the world for a good, cheap price. Even if you're in a third world country or okay, I shouldn't use that phrase, it's not really real. But if you're in a less developed country, $15 for 30 days of access is feasible. And that's after you've gone through the trials, and it's actually possible to get 14 months total of free membership from Skillshare. If you were to sign up with them through an instructor, through me or someone else, any teacher can get you 60 days in a free trial, right? So you can actually make your own course, and as long as you meet the minimum requirements and that kind of thing, then you can get an additional year of free Skillshare. So that's something to keep in mind. Like, when you're doing content about Skillshare, they make it so appealing to get people to try. There's really not much reason to not try because you get so much information, and it really is very affordable. And there's even ways to get it for free if you're willing to do the necessary work to produce the content that enables that. And in my case, using the YouTube channel effectively has made my Skillshare experience much better, and using Skillshare has made my YouTube experience much better. So I strongly encourage somehow having a YouTube channel where you are making content, and also having a Skillshare account where you're making more fine-tuned, specific versions of that content. I strongly encourage that, okay? So now let's get down to the earnings by month. And this is what I'm getting at. You see how, okay, in royalties, we have like $56, $42, $5 the first month. That's not very much in royalties, right? And what is royalties? Well, royalties is how much Skillshare pays you per minute of your time that someone is watching, okay? So if somebody spends a minute watching your course, Skillshare is going to give you, or at the moment it's roughly 5 cents per minute. But that changes, right? Because the way Skillshare determines how much it's going to give you is based on Skillshare's performance as a company. Skillshare has monthly membership fees, right? So a large pool of this is income. And out of that income, employees are paid, costs of doing business are taken out, all of these things. And then what's left is a pool. And that pool is split equally among all minutes being consumed on Skillshare. And this is something that's quite interesting, because while it is true that it grows slowly in the beginning, like when you start earning Skillshare, you can't expect to suddenly earn hundreds of dollars a month off royalties unless you do a lot of marketing to make a bunch of people sign up and consume your content, build a lot of hype. And again, one of the things that we're talking about here with Skillshare is the fact that you don't need marketing to be at, like, it's not completely necessary to be successful. You got to understand it's always going to be beneficial to know how to market effectively. It's always beneficial. However, on certain platforms, it is more critical and more necessary, right? And we'll get into why it's easier to not market as much with Skillshare later. But for now, I want to really talk about these income numbers, because the reason that this number is so high, right? The third month was almost $1,000, which for me, that is awesome. Like, first month I earned $100 and then 300 and then that's cool. That is super awesome. And I will get into emotions and this part looks really good. Then there was an event. There's always an event, guys. There's always something that's gonna break your mojo. You gotta anticipate these events. So I was super happy, super excited about this, right? Essentially, I was making these Skillshare courses, and I had 5, right? By the 5th week, I had 5 courses, and then I haven't made any courses since then, really. Actually, no, that's not true. I made 4 in the first month, and then I took like 2 weeks off, and then I made 1, and then I haven't made any since then. It's been a while, and I'm intending to fix that, right? And I'll get into the course creation process and everything. But I want to make sure that you are comfortable with how Skillshare pays, because I need to give you time to reflect a little bit. I know that I'm covering a lot here, and it may seem like I'm jumping around too much, and I apologize. Sometimes I get a bit too excited, and I move around too quickly. I'm trying to make sure that you guys can absorb everything that I'm sharing in this video, right? I need to be effective in how I communicate to you. Royalties, at the moment, roughly 5 cents per minute, right? So if we go up, we can see that in all my classes, people have consumed roughly 2,790 minutes of content, okay? And we can see some information about how the current month is going. Under this, we have a chart showing growth since the beginning. So I started here, and then this month, and again, this is, honestly, Skillshare has been really fulfilling for me, because it, like, there so far has been consistent, regular progress. And it was also really satisfying to look at it this way, because it can be a bit hard to tell what's coming from the YouTube channel through referrals and what's actually coming from me creating content on Skillshare, right? And at first I was like, oh man, nobody's really watching my courses. I was bothered. But it definitely is growing a lot. Like, you can see that in the first month, people only consumed 130 minutes of content. Whereas in the second month, it was over 5 times that amount of content consumed. And then just a little bit more, but still consistent growth so far. And obviously, there are going to be times where I don't grow. That's how it is. You can't get sad about that. Just be grateful that you are growing when you do. But interesting stuff, right? And so you can see that student-wise, that happened already. Like, in March, I got a bunch of new students, but then I got less students in April, and I got more students in May. Whereas minutes-wise, people were consuming more content every month, even though in April, there were actually less students than in March. Those 28 students consumed more content than these 32 students, okay? Now, before I get into course creation or anything else, let's talk about the YouTube part, because this is essentially what you would get with Skillshare alone, and this is what you get with marketing and YouTube, okay? Notice the drastic difference in size between these two numbers. As a YouTuber who didn't have a history of creating Skillshare content, I was able to get $1,000 in my 3rd month from these referrals, okay? So let's get into what caused that to happen. Because keep in mind, as we're going and as we're doing this, I'm still learning about Skillshare. I'm new to this platform. And I'm choosing to share everything that I have learned with you, because I have been studying Skillshare fairly intensely over the past 4 months. And it is something that I view as a very serious opportunity for most people who are interested in learning. The one problem with Skillshare is that it's predominantly in English. So that is something that will change with time, and it will be more available in other languages. But unfortunately, it really is dominated by English content at the moment. So it's not as useful to a lot of international people as if there was more Spanish content on it, or Arabic content, or French content, or this kind of thing. But again, all of this will change with time. So we need to rewind, right? Because I'm making these Skillshare courses. It's like the 1st or 2nd month, and I'm just making videos about Skillshare because that's what I'm focusing on, and I'm a YouTuber, so I make videos about what I'm doing, right? And I don't really know where these referrals are coming from. I don't know what's causing them to happen. I know that I'm making videos that make it possible because people can watch the videos and the referral links in there. But unfortunately, I don't know of a way to identify exactly where the referral came from, like what video brought that referral in. Unfortunately, I don't have access to that data at the moment. So that was really tricky earlier on, because I didn't know which video was referring people. And I did, like, okay, if we go Jack Pitman Skillshare, I've done like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I've done like over 10 videos about Skillshare, right? And so I didn't know where they were coming from, but something happened. Actually, I got in trouble because of one of these videos, right? So one of these videos, I talked about a free year of Skillshare. Skillshare gives you a year of Skillshare of membership if you publish a course, right? And I made some mistakes in this video. I didn't talk about all of the minimum requirements for publishing a Skillshare course, and I had to take this video down, right? I got an email from Skillshare saying, hey, we don't really like the tone of this video, and then they gave me a chance to do something about it. They didn't tell me to take it down. There was very, very effective communication by their part. They absolutely gave me a chance to respond before I got in any form of trouble, like actual trouble or marked on my account or anything, which is really, really great, and I really appreciate that because I'm not used to being able to actually work and communicate with a platform effectively. That's not an experience I had with eBay, really. And a lot of Google things are amazing, but you don't talk directly, you know? So essentially what happened, I took this video down, right? And then overnight, all of my referrals completely stopped. It went from having 4 to 7 or 8 Skillshare referrals per day, right? Which is actually monthly even higher than this. If you look at that, like the week where it was at its peak, right? 7 referrals per day is $70 a day. So if you're getting 7 referrals per day, that's $2,100 in a month, right? So I started feeling super excited because I haven't really, like, I've been focusing on figuring out ways to be really effective with my time so that I can earn money while also having the maximum available amount of free time to spend how I choose. You know, I don't like actually having free time. I like filling my free time with things that I love to do, okay? But you have to have the free time in order to populate it with the things that you want, right? That's what's really important. So I was feeling really happy and really like proud of myself because of how effective the combination of this YouTube and Skillshare thing was. But here's an emotional vulnerability, right? Because as soon as I had to take that video down and all of those referrals dried up, right? Then I no longer felt very happy. And this is important to talk about because I'm making a common mistake here that entrepreneurial people make and self-employed people make. And it's where you let numbers that are consistent with growth control too much of your emotions. And you have to be really careful about this because there are going to be times, it's absolutely inevitable, that you will be able to create growth in projects. And at points, that growth will taper off, or that growth will die, or something tragic will happen. This is the way that life is. It's how it works. And you really have to make sure that you acknowledge that that's going to happen. And you acknowledge you're going to get really emotional. And try and be careful about when you feel super proud or super sad, because that's a sign that you should probably go do something else. Like talk to someone you care about, spend time with them, cook food with somebody, do something away from the computer, away from whatever projects you're working on, because it's really important that you establish some distance away from the thing that you're enjoying and trying to focus on exclusively, so that you're able to consistently see it more clearly. You're going to find that in the beginning, it's really easy to see things clearly, maybe the first month, 2 months. But after that, it starts to get cloudy. Emotional events in your life will start to make you question things. You'll have some more insecurities. This phase, this part after the beginning, is typically where people would stop or give up or just lose interest, right? So it's important to understand how that whole process works. And now I feel that you're confident in understanding how you can earn money on Skillshare. You get paid by 2 different formats, right? You get paid in royalties, so that's how much per minute. And then you also get paid in referrals, okay? And we've covered why having a YouTube channel would be quite important in these situations. We've also covered how YouTube videos lead to getting more referrals. And I talked with you about an experience I had where I had to take a video down and I lost all my referrals and I got emotional, okay? Now, what's super interesting about this process is I was sad. I felt like a failure. I was like, man, I did this thing. Even though I'd made a bunch of money off of one video, one 14-minute video, I didn't feel satisfied. I didn't feel good about that, right? And the reality is I should be really proud. I should be content and enjoy that, right? But I have problems still, and I'm working on these. And these are things that I think most of you guys either have experienced already or will experience as well. So I understand that it can be very vulnerable to talk about. But sometimes it is really important to address these kind of issues that can come up when you are dealing with a lot of stress. And especially when you're trying to be self-employed, it's you got to do it. Like, you can't show up sick. I mean, you can be sick and take time to rest, but you have to do the things that are necessary to accomplish what you want to do. You have to do them. You can't rely on other people to, unless you've trained those other people to do it for you, right? Which is possible. So now let's talk a bit about the course creation process. I want to give you guys some tips about how to create courses. And one of the good ways is to do this 30-day thing that I did. You want to expose yourself to a lot of courses. For you, maybe you won't make content as frequently, like maybe 1 course per month. You could even just have it where for 30 days, you take 1 course every day, and then you just produce 1 course in the whole month. I'm not trying to come off the wrong way about that or anything. Like, just understand that I have been making a lot of videos. It's very normal to me. I'm very comfortable making videos because of my experience with YouTube. So for me, it's simpler to make courses once a week. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if you can't make a course once a week, that doesn't matter. You should still make a course however long you feel comfortable taking to make a course. That's really what matters, is figuring out what works for you and enables you to actually be producing content, not just thinking about producing content, right? That part is really important. So another super interesting part of this experience with Skillshare is that, yeah, they asked me to take a video down, or they told me about a video and then I took it down, right? I actually was able to work with Skillshare and recreate that video. So if we go to YouTube and go Jack Pitman, free Skillshare for a year, this video comes up, yeah? And this video had Skillshare's permission for me to post it, which is a super new experience for me. I've never been able to work with a platform and get their feedback directly before I've published a video. Like, basically what happened is they told me what they didn't like about the first video. I remade it and I really took everything that they said to heart and I changed the angle and focused more about talking about creating more quality courses and taking your time with courses and giving more details about the minimum requirements for this year of Skillshare. And they reviewed the video and allowed me to publish it. Like, I have an email from Skillshare saying I have permission to publish that revision of the video, which is really, really comforting for me. Because I was kind of worried in the beginning because I'd seen some videos about people getting banned on Skillshare, and I was kind of curious but also nervous because one of the reasons I'm doing Skillshare is because I want more stability in my life. And I can't just have information from dropshipping. I can't just have income from dropshipping information. I have to have income from lots of different things, even if each one of those things is just $100 or something like that. It just brings stability into life. If you have 10 or 20 different income streams and each of them give you reliably at least $50 to $100, then you have way more stability than if you have one business that is earning you $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month. Anytime a lot of money is coming from one thing, it's really prone to instability, okay? And that's something that I want you guys to understand as people interested in Skillshare, is that you can use Skillshare effectively if there's other stuff that you're doing and you're also making content on Skillshare and also making content on YouTube. Making content in general about the things that you're interested in is really the backbone for monetizing the things that you're interested in. You can really learn how to earn money doing what you love later. As long as you are creating products, creating content that, even if it's free or just YouTube videos, even if you don't earn anything from it, you have to start there. You have to be able to create this content. That is where it all starts. Because once you've gotten experience creating content, you've regularly produced videos, you've regularly articulated subjects and expressed things and talked to people and reached out to people, you'll find that you're just able to earn money from it. It's just a matter of time. You have to just get so used to creating content that you just bleed content. It's how you deal with your life, right? All right, guys. If you ever want to do any kind of consulting, I do free calls for people if you let me record it for my YouTube channel, or you record the video for your YouTube channel. In either one of these situations, I will talk about anything that you want. We can talk about Skillshare, dropshipping, life, trauma, earning money online, different ways, different things people do, specific problems. We can address anything you want. And as long as you let me record it or you record it for your channel, it's free, okay? You have the option of making the call private. It costs $20 per 30 minutes if you want to do this. For me, it's much more fulfilling if I can record a call, because then if we learn something, like if I learn something from you and if you learn something from me, it's not just us, it's not just you and me learning. It's every single person who watches that video in its existence in the future. So we're talking about like a single iteration of two people being helped and learning versus a potential thousands, right? So for me, it's much more incentivizing, as you would imagine, to be able to record the conversation. And this is why I charge if you don't want it to be recorded. And that's completely fine. I understand. But then, I make it beneficial for myself. And it's been working out. At first I was kind of, I don't know, I felt weird about like charging people for my time. But it makes me feel like I have to put more structure into the call and I have to put more energy into it. And it also makes me feel like more confident because people are like willing to give me their money for my time, which is a new concept for me, right? And this is also something anything of you can do. Any of you can do. You can also set up consulting and this kind of thing. It's all doable. I also have a live stream that's every Friday. Anybody who wants to join can join the Discord chat in the link below. and then I post the link to the Zoom room every Friday. When you join this, again, same thing. You can talk about anything. We can talk about anything. But it is a live stream, so you will be live, and I'll be looking at the live chat and people ask questions, and that's how it is. You can get direct experience with live stream if you want to. Anybody can join. The only requirement is that you're ballsy enough to just join a live stream, really. Like, it's funny because that's actually worked. Like, that's been an effective filter. Like, I haven't had experiences where I'm like, man, why did this person join? Like, everybody who's joined, I've been happy, and I felt really like interested in what they have to say, and getting to know them as an individual. It's been cool. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time. Okay, ciao.